Welcome to the 2006 PartyPoker.com World 10-Pin Masters. There's one semi-final place up for grabs at this prestigious event as the top bowlers in the world continue to fight it out for this coveted title and the winner's check for $30,000. Let's take a look at what's happened in the other quarters.
Jens, having been given a little bit of a scare, has breathing room once again, and a strike here pretty much sees him past the winning line. But safe to say Guy Kaminski got Jens's attention in this match after that slow start. And yeah, Jens has decided, I'm not mucking around with this anymore, let's get the job done and get out of here. Got him, and he's got a chance of breaking the 500 barrier. Safe to say that Alex Liu has got Chris Barnes' attention. He's got everybody's attention.
Defending champion from Germany Jens Nickel is through and plays Paul Moore of England in semi-final 1, the man that he beat in the 2005 Masters final. In the bottom half of the draw, Malaysian bowler Alex Liu really turned it on, scoring a tournament high 513 to beat Jason Belmonte of Australia. Liu will meet the winner of our next match, Canada's Michael Schmidt versus the USA's Chris Barnes. Well, we've saved the best quarter-final till last, that all-North American clash, Schmidt versus Barnes, and Michael Schmidt still riding high after that wonderful World Cup win back in 2005.
Everything about that week is etched in my head, and I couldn't have had a better week, couldn't ask for a better week. Everyone out there was very supportive. People of Slovenia were just amazing. It's a memory I'll never forget. Well, I had quite the hero's welcome when I came back to the Winnipeg airport. Had over 100, 200 people there waiting for me and gave me a big cheer when I came down the stairs holding the World Cup, and that was just an amazing feeling. I have a lot more confidence. I believe in myself a lot more. More than anything, winning the World Cup has proven to myself that I can actually compete internationally. I bowl probably about 4 days a week, but of course you got to work on top of that. I actually just recently started running a pro shop, bowling pro shop in Winnipeg, so I'm pretty much in a bowling center every day of the week now, so that's okay. I don't mind it.
It's another major semi-final for Michael Schmidt, but what does he make of his Pro Tour opponent, Chris Barnes?
Well, I heard he's a bowler, but I'm not sure. No, he's a very, very good player. I've had a chance to meet with him and talk with him over the last few days, and he's a really nice guy, and that would be a really interesting match for me.
Michael's opponent is in a bit of a no-win situation here at the Masters because everyone expects the USA's Chris Barnes to walk this event as a PBA Pro Tour bowler. But Chris himself is very realistic about how difficult it's going to be to take this Masters title.
A couple of the favorites have struggled, and you know, it's a lot like the TV shows that we have with our one-game matches, and anything can happen in a short time frame, and it's really important to get off to a good start. I have my hands full right off the bat, and I'll have to show up with everything I have. It's hard for me to imagine moving to another country and being in unfamiliar places every week, and I think that's probably the biggest tax on players from Europe and Asia and Australia into coming into the PBA Tour, because that's really about the only difference between myself and the rest of the players is where I live. Otherwise, just about everybody in this field would be on the professional tour. It's all physical to a point, and then once you reach that upper tier where everybody in this tournament is, then it becomes, you know, a lot about decisions and how you handle the environment and the pressure and lights and cameras and everything else. So a lot of it turns into a mental preparation and execution on the day of the tournament. So our sets on the PBA Tour are pretty similar to what is set up here, although we will on 2 lanes. So hopefully I like the right lane. But I think that's probably given me some experience, you know, in this environment. But it's certainly still unique, and you know, and every moment's a new one. So we'll learn each time.
So, quarter-final 4, Schmidt versus Barnes, Canada versus the USA. Let's get to the action and join your commentary team, Cass Edwards and Nick Halling.
And this North American dust-up is just about ready to get going. Mike Schmidt, 250 pounds of prime Canadian beef, will bring a lot of power to this approach. And yes, Cass, look what ball he's going out with right from the start. It's that green ball, the big P that got him so much success in his first round match. Well, it didn't give him much of a start here, did it?
Just a fraction high on the hip, and it's pretty unfortunate to leave the 4-9 split. That's a split that's left of a ball that's very close to a strike. High hooking, a lot of rotation, almost rips the rack, but well, could be an open frame. He's going to have to try and clip this 4-pin on the left-hand side, chip it across, and hopefully make the spare. It's not easy.
It's absolutely amazing how many matches we've had in this year's competition that one or other of the bowlers has started out with an open frame. I make that 7.
It's only because you keep mentioning it, you know that.
It's amazing how many open frames we've had to lead off with.
Especially if they've just come off practice as well. You know, they've had sort of 10 minutes practice and a couple of extra balls, and when Bernie says go, they haven't. Here comes Chris Barnes, the man from the PBA Tour in the United States.
He's done virtually the same thing. I was about to say, and I'm glad I kept my mouth shut for once, there's no way Chris Barnes is going to leave himself a split, but would you believe it?
The identical split, the 4-9. Again, that ball just high up on the headpin. Notice Chris is playing wide on the right-hand side of the lane. Just a little bit of overreaction. He likes to keep that ball straighter down the lane rather than covering too many boards. Some of the other players in this event have been hooking it all over the place. Chris just to keep it a bit straighter, looking for a spare, and wasn't far away, and that was really close. Unfortunately, he's 1 pin down in the first frame.
Well, we've had lots of open frames in the first frames of these matches. I don't think we've had an open frame each, and I wonder if that's an indication that this lane, which has played 1 or 2 games with some of these players, especially in the earlier matches, I wonder if this lane's going to have some fun in this one.
Welcome back to the World 10-Pin Masters. This is Chris Barnes against Michael Schmidt. Commentary for this 2-game match comes from Cass Edwards and Nick Halling.
Interestingly, Mike Schmidt is bowling a 15-pound ball here. 16 is the maximum. Lots of rotation, hits some thin, makes some spin. Earns himself the first double of the match. Yeah, 15-pound ball, generates lots of speed and rotation. Great deal of velocity. Watch this one rip. A light hit, but spins them all around, carries all 10.
Well, we're starting to see what we saw in game 2 of his first round match against Kirsten Penny, when he really did tear it up with that green ball. And it's forcing Chris Barnes just to match him step for step at the moment. So a double from Schmidt, a double from Chris. Yes.
Looking good, feeling good. 2 strikes from 2 players. He has this nicely straight down the line. A little bit of rotation at the end, and that's all it takes. Chris looking a bit happier on that one.
Yeah. And one interested observer right in the front row. I can see Alex Liu looking on. I think both these two fellas are trying not to notice Alex, because he is the opponent in the semi-final, and Alex, so far, the Malaysian, has shown the best form of all the competitors in this year's tournament. First of all, they've got to get there to have a chance at facing him, and I'll be a little bit disappointed with that, Mike.
Yeah, it was a really big ball, lots of rotation, lots of power into that pocket. Probably just too much, not that's cutting right back. Gone straight through the 5-pin, hasn't bounced onto that 9. Too much ball, really.
Should be a simple spare, and is. And there is Alex with Mike's father to his right looking on. Alex has bowled beautifully here. 491 in his first round and cracking the 500 in his second, and he is the form horse of this field.
The opportunity arises for Chris Barnes to take the lead in this first game.
Well, so far they've virtually matched each other, haven't they? So, as you say, Chris can move in front with a strike. 3 in a row for Barnes. No, the 10 stood tall.
Yeah, it didn't even move, did it? Nothing got anywhere near it. That 6-pin jumped right round it. Very nice pocket hit. Super smooth style of Chris Barnes, of course. Nice high back swing. Great follow through. Everybody's got their eye on that one. Just can't kick that 10-pin out.
Chris looking down the lane. Yeah. Linda like that. Not sure Chris liked it, though.
No, he's the man that works with strikes for a profession. Spares are more sort of an annoyance than anything else.
It's amazing that there's just that 1-pin difference in the first frame that separates these two. Both had an open, but Mike got 9, Chris got 8. Other than that, they've 9 spared, they've doubled, and they've 9 spared. So they really are standing toe-to-toe and slugging it out at the moment. Let's see what Mike can do here. Back in the pocket. No, not at all.
Oh dear, that's a nasty one. Bit of overreaction in the back end yet again. Leaves himself the 4, the 6 and the 7. That's an impossible split. More than likely to be an open frame. Just a bit of overreaction in the back end. That ball's high through the head pin and just didn't break anything up.
And now there may be some daylight between the two players, because I don't think Mike Schmidt can sit down in his chair and expect his opponent to match that. A second open frame for Michael Schmidt.
Yeah, looking a bit concerned, isn't he? As he chews his gum and takes a drink of water. I don't know if you've noticed that when Mike comes up for his first shot, he's got a rubber insert that he wears on his right index finger that gives him a little bit of extra grip on the ball. I just want to have a look at that next time he's up.
Look at Chris standing there like a schoolmaster in front of a class of naughty schoolboys as he waits for those pins to get re-racked. Well, the pins are standing now and behaving themselves as well under the stern gaze of Chris Barnes.
Yes, it's like the pin spotter would stopped him doing his job of work, doesn't it? Get himself prepared, working on a spare. This for the lead.
he's got it. And that's exactly what you need to do when your opponent leaves an open frame. Hit him back with a strike. Hit him where it hurts.
Yeah, just as that ball released, it went through his mark, and Chris said, that's good. Some of the crowd in the front row heard him. And that's absolutely perfect. Right in the 1-3 pocket, the sweet spot for the right-hander. Looking a little bit more satisfied.
But Barnes is one of those guys who's not going to ever be satisfied with doubles. He wants 4, 5, 6 in a row. And whoever gets through this quarter-final is probably going to have to achieve some kind of feat like that if they want to get to the final, because Alex Liu awaits.
The event is full of high rollers. Mike Schmidt working on an open. Change of ball.
Yeah, the green ball has been rejected.
The green ball has gone. Out comes the red one, and it absolutely rips the rack in the 1-3 pocket there for the right-hander. Just tightens the shot up slightly. Not fishing so far on the outside. And that's a great looking shot. What a good adjustment.
Well, he did this in his first game, didn't he? He jettisoned a ball that he wasn't happy with, then found something good with a replacement ball, and he's made an early switch here after that second open frame.
Well, the good thing about it is with these top players, they have to know when to make that adjustment and make that change. It's a gamble, but they have to be brave to do it. And when it pays dividends, of course, you know, it makes them feel good. And that's exactly what happened with Mike there.
So Barnes with an opportunity to pick up his second double of the match. Very methodical in his placement of his feet there and his approach. Getting the balance absolutely right. Everything lined up and in place. The eyes dialed in and boring down the lane. Not in the pocket.
That's a 4-6 split, I'm afraid. High through the head pin, and Chris looks more angry than anybody else in the whole building. Just a little bit of overreaction, just dialed in too much, doesn't break anything up, and he is not happy. Just the way, I'm afraid. It's an open frame, and that sort of squares everything up yet again.
It's a bizarre match, this one, isn't it? And Barnes sits disgustingly in his chair. Well, he will do eventually. And still we wait for either of these fellas to really catch fire. Barnes has a double, Schmidt has a double. They both have 2 open frames, and they both have some pretty ordinary looking scores at the moment.
Well, I'm just wondering if both of them are under a little bit of pressure. You know, it's a 2-game shootout. No one's going to have a chance to get, you know, miles and miles ahead. And that was such a big ball for Mike Schmidt. He was really looking for the double there to turn the screw. And as I was saying, I'm just wondering if both of them feeling a little bit of pressure. Both know one another's pedigree. What a great looking ball that was, and that 10 pins wobbled in the corner deprives Mike Schmidt of the double.
Yeah, tough break for the man from Winnipeg. It looked a good pocket hit. Now he's just got to make sure he cleans it up, takes out that 10, which he does with some venom, it has to be said. Well, he doesn't put down slow balls, this fella, does he?
No, indeed he doesn't. Great deal of speed and power.
Yeah, very sort of scorecard.
Yeah, 2 open frames. I'll be happy with those. But still in touch.
Barnes does take out that 7, otherwise he could have had a bit of a headache, but he's not a happy man out there at all.
Slight adjustment in his setup there, just gave the ball a little bit more room on the lane, and it didn't get the reaction he wanted. It was working its way back, but not enough to make the flush 1-3 pocket. Fraction light, and he's fortunate just to split that 2 and the 7 up. Single pin spare. I'll have to settle for that.
I tell you, the happiest man in the place right now is the Malaysian Alex Liu, who will meet the winner of this one in the semis. He's probably sitting there thinking, well, come on you boys, you carry on bowling like this in the next round as well. It's very, very ordinary scores, nothing between them, and both of them capable of an awful lot better than they're showing so far. It's making for an interesting match, isn't it? 1 pin the difference.
Yes, indeed. Mike might have had a bad hair day, but he's trying to make it a good bowling day.
Don't you start talking about bad hair days. Here's the pot. That's a good strike day.
What a great shot from Mike. Great deal of power, rotation, and he liked that one, didn't he? There's that red finger insert he wears on his index finger.
Cass, all the cool kids wear their hair like that nowadays.
Well, you don't.
It's because I'm not cool.
We won't go any further.
Good strike for Mike.
Yeah, very timely. Foundation frame, it was the 9th frame, and he's having a little snooze there just to gather his thoughts.
Chris needs a strike to keep his nose in front. Anything else, and Mike's back in it. And he's somehow managed to pull one out. Linda will be thrilled, yeah. That was like one of those. Well done.
Well, it was one of my ones, wasn't it? One of those hit him thin, make him spin. Not the sort of thing you'd normally see from the PBA Tournament of Champions winner. But it's very valuable, very acceptable.
Yeah, and it's like, it's knocked all 10 down, but it's not good news. He knows he's not online at all yet.
World 10-pin Masters. Michael Schmidt against Chris Barnes. Little to choose between these two, and we rejoin the opening game in frame 10. Commentary from Cass Edwards and Nick Halling.
Mike's just steadied himself down. Frame 10. If somebody can finish fast here, they've got some momentum they can build with. Yeah, I like that. I think that was Dad yelling that one down, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Rick Schmidt yelling that'll do. As Mike released that one, it was online, had the rotation and the velocity, and absolutely ripped the rack. Double time, frames 9 and 10. Just trying to get the lead back and sneak this first game.
Well, another one here would give him 10 more bonus balls and would get him over the 200 as well.
And how many times have we seen Mike Schmidt, not only in this tournament but previous World Cup, striking out 3 times in the 10th frame to take a lead or win? Seems to be one of his trademarks.
Yeah, absolutely, it is a feature of his game. So, can he go 3 in a row? Yes, he can. He's doing it again here in frame 10.
It's enough to get him through the 200 barrier. Turkey time. 9th frame plus 2 in the 10th. Earns himself 1 more bonus ball. And this red ball's doing exactly what the green ball did last time. Getting him lined up. Let's see. Just have a look at that very unusual red finger grip that he wears on his index finger. I've been mentioning it before, on his right hand. There it is. Just gives himself a little bit of extra grip. Just wears it for the his first ball, his strike ball. Slightly unusual, but if he likes it, why not?
Absolutely. He's off the out of the pocket with his very last ball, and with that he just cracks 200 even. Well, not exactly a sizzling score. It might be enough to give him a narrow lead, though, depending on what Chris Barnes comes in. But both these fellas have brought their B game today, and it's going to come down to effectively a 1-game sprint now for a place in the final 4.
Yes, you're right, Nick. We can get this first game out of the way and start again almost all level on game number 2. But depending on what Chris finishes up with here, it will probably be single digits.
First, though, Chris has got to get a strike to give himself a chance of going in front, and he's done just that. And now he needs another one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's a ball change as well in the first ball of the 10th for Chris. And he's earned himself the double. A lot better reaction in the back end. Yes, I think that is. Absolutely rips the rack, and look at the look on his face there. Get out the way, here I come. Just see if he can repeat that in, on his bonus balls. Strike here to put him through the 200 mark.
Very much dialed in there. That ball change seems to have worked for Chris.
Hello, this is looks like a different player, doesn't he, all of a sudden? Got the bit between his teeth. Really giving some mean looking stares at those pins. What a great reaction that is. Just holds the line nicely. Fantastic body language, look at that.
It means Chris is going to go into the turnaround with a narrow lead. It's going to be single pins. And I suppose that makes this a big ball, because every pin looks like it's going to count in this one. And he's taken the lot, finished with a 4-bagger and 2:05. Has Chris Barnes turned the corner? That's the question. We're at the halfway point of this all-North American quarter-final. And it's the man from south of the border, Chris Barnes from Dallas, Texas, that has a 5-pin advantage over his opponent from Winnipeg, Mike Schmidt. But it's all to play for in game 2.
Before we continue with Game 2, here's a reminder of how the scoring works in 10-pin. If you're going to keep tabs on the players, then you need to come to terms with the scoring system. There are 10 frames in a match. There's a maximum of 2 balls in each frame. When a player knocks all 10 pins down, the first ball is called a strike. When a player knocks all 10 pins down with 2 balls, then this is a spare. A strike and a spare are worth bonus points. When you make a strike, you earn 10 points, and the score of your next 2 balls is added twice. When you make a spare, you earn 10 points, and the score of your next 1 ball is added twice. If you score consecutive strikes or spares, the bonus points continue to mount up. If you score a strike in frame 10, you'll get 2 bonus balls. And if you score a spare in frame 10, you get 1 bonus ball. The maximum score for a match is 300 points, 12 strikes in a row.
This is going to be an interesting few frames coming through now.
Barnes looking for the double. It could so easily be 3 in a row for him. He doesn't want another bad break. He's got it again.
That's the double he was looking for. I think he just let out a little bit of a sigh. We'll have a look at this one again. He's hooked this one into the pocket, and it's almost set into the pocket. It's almost hooked up and then straightened out. Great looking shot, and well, yeah, that's carried. I won't say he was slightly surprised, but didn't hook in as much as before. Chris just checking the score. 3 strikes out of 4. He's looking pretty lined up.
When you're the lead-off guy in such a close match, you're telling your opponent what he's got to do. And what Mike Schmidt has to do here is convert his double into a turkey to stay in the lead. Can he do it? He's in there like swimwear.
Oh dear, very fortunate that was. That 9-pin was the lazy one. Needed a messenger to take it out. But as we've seen, it's a 3-bagger, turkey time. Look at that, kick from behind, fantastic. Keeps the lead.
Just with his nose in front, and now it gets flipped the other way. Barnes knows he's got to find a turkey of his own just to keep the pressure on Schmidt. This is boiling up into quite a good match now. 5 pins in it. They've been neck and neck right from the off, and they both started off with that open frame. Nothing between them ever since. And can Barnes keep the heat going? Well, he was a bit out of the pocket, a bit high on the headpin there.
Yeah, the ball's just cut through, straight through the 5-pin. No deflection onto that 9-pin. Again, another powerful hit. He's looking for the 10. Just gets a fraction high. Oh dear, it's not going for me, is it? Could so easily have been 5 strikes in a row. Unfortunately, it's just 3. Needs to make the spare. Shouldn't be any problem with this. Nice straight shot. Slightly under pressure now is Chris Barnes, because Mike Schmidt's coming up working on 3 in a row. And if he strings another one here, there's going to be daylight between them.
Yeah, at the halfway point as well, through 5 frames. This coming up the biggest ball of the match so far. If Mike Schmidt can strike, he puts just a sliver of daylight between the two players. Anything less, it stays neck and neck. When you're up against a pro bowler, the chance may only come once, and this could be that moment for Mike Schmidt.
Come on, carry it!
And he's taken it.
Well, you heard Dad screaming from the bleachers. Absolutely ripped the rack with that shot. 4 strikes in a row for Mike Schmidt. And Dad was almost off his feet, I think. Great Canberra shot there. Look at this. Right in the pocket. Fantastic.
And now the pressure really is on. 26 pins is the difference. That can turn around very quickly, but Barnes is under pressure now with 5 frames to go. It's not must-strike time, but it's getting pretty close. If Chris Barnes wants to get into this, he's got to turn up the heat right here. And he does.
That needs to be the first one of about 3 or 4, because Mike Schmidt's on a roll and Chris has really got to get there with him. It's a great shot. Fabulous style. Lays it out beautifully on the lane. Great reaction. Carries all 10. Really powerful hit.
Well, it had to be, didn't it, really, just to make sure that that gap didn't grow any greater. 26 the deficit. But of course, if Mike Schmidt fails to strike here, that deficit comes right back down again. So he's asked the question, Barnes. Can the big Canadian come up with the right answer once again?
This is becoming a carry contest. Both players are hitting the pocket pretty much at will now.
And he's carried him again. A 5-bagger for Mike Schmidt.
This is what it's all about. It's all very well hitting the pocket, but you have to carry all 10. It's no good blasting it away and leaving 10 pins and 9 pins or 8 pins. This is what it's all about. Hit that pocket and carry the 10. And Mike Schmidt is just showing us how he does it. We've seen it before. I'm looking good.
At this stage of the match, that you can relax like that says a lot about Mike Schmidt.
Back to the Masters, Barnes of the USA against Canadian Michael Schmidt. This is the second game. Both players are clean through the opening frames, and we rejoin our commentary team of Cass Edwards and Nick Halling.
And he's taking his time here. The last time he took his time like this, in the first game, he bowled a 9 spare. But this has got to be a strike, surely. He's starting to run out of frames. Barnes looking for the double. Nicely done. This is a good response from the American.
Yeah, it looks as though it's a slightly softer shot, not so much hand movement in that one, and it's fantastic reaction in the back end again. Those eyes burning into the lane, looking for 10. And that's a fantastic carry. Makes the double.
Well, this is the closest match that we've had of this year's championship. It's still wide open, as here we are in frame 7 of game 2. Barnes has hit a double. Schmidt's working a 5-bagger, but he can't relax yet. If he fails to strike here, Barnes is right on his shoulder once again. So the pressure remains on the Canadian shoulders. And he's responding beautifully.
There's Rick, Mike's father, looking concerned, but I'm sure he's happy inside.
And Alex Liu next to him, who was probably thinking at the halfway point, well, I've got an easy passage in the semi-final. Now he's seeing what these two are capable of. 6 in a row for Mike Schmidt, and still he cannot relax. But Chris Barnes is running out of frames. Here we go to frame 8. Barnes has to strike. He knows it.
Yeah, it gets to the situation now. It almost is a must-strike situation for Chris Barnes. Can you believe that?
Well, there's some real tension in this auditorium at the Metrodome in Barnsley. He's done it again, he's keeping the pressure on. And it is a pressure cooker in there now.
Yeah, I didn't like that one, looking a little slightly concerned, but happy that Husbands found 3 in a row. Gives himself the opportunity to go for 4, and that's what it's all about. It's setting himself up for more strikes. That's a bit of body language there from Chris.
We've had 11 strikes and 3 9 spares in this second leg so far. That is bowling of the highest calibre.
Well, we have the World Cup winner Mike Schmidt and the PBA Tournament of Champions winner there in Chris Barnes. Oh, Mike takes a re-rack.
Yeah, look at this. This is sweaty palm time.
For you and me.
And for everybody in this arena. This is a nail-biter now. Barnes is trailing, but he's applying some pressure. Schmidt is leading, but can he keep on striking?
Well, if he can, he's going to go off the sheet for a game of 290, which would be unbelievable. But who's to say he's not going to keep striking? He's changed balls. He's gone from the green one to the red one, and it's doing some severe damage, just as the green one did in his previous match.
He has 6. Does he have 7? Yes.
This is unbelievable bowling from Mike Schmidt, the man from Winnipeg, the World Cup winner, showing his class, sending out a few messages to not only the bowlers in this tournament, but other tournament bowlers around the world. Look out.
So there's the situation. 26 pins the arrears for Chris Barnes, and when you've got 2 frames left, the equation is really simple. You have to strike. This, the biggest ball of the match. If he strikes, he stays alive.
Yeah, I think the PA system just went off. Chris is just checking himself.
Oh, that's not what you need, is it? All these bowlers are such rhythm bowlers. He's going to have to just refocus, retool, and what a moment in the match as well. It's got to be a strike. If he doesn't strike here, there may be no way back for Chris Barnes. This is the all or nothing ball, and he's going to take his time. And here it goes. Oh, that is horrible for him. What can you do when a 10-pin just pokes its tongue out at you like that? That is cruel.
I'll tell you something, Nick, the look on his face is the look of a guy that is going to get beaten. And can you believe that? Look at that, staring down that 10-pin. Just loses the colour to his face. It was such a good shot. It was probably the most important ball that he bowled in this game,
and there was nothing wrong with it.
No, it looked absolutely fabulous, didn't it?
Well, that could be the decisive moment of this match. All Mike Schmidt has to do now is stay clean, and he'll be through. But that 10-pin was so costly for Chris Barnes, and he did nothing wrong. That's the tough part about this game sometimes. All he can do now is hope that Mike Schmidt has a breakdown. And the Canadian is not over the line yet, even though he has 7 in a row. But if this is a strike, get the celebrations ready. Oh, and he's left something. He's left a big 4 with the match in his grasp.
Can you believe that? I think he's slowed his shot down here. Didn't get the ball quite out as wide on the lane. Yeah, very much inside. Gets the rotation on the ball right through the headpin and leaves himself the big 4.
Now, he will still have the lead here at the end of this, but Barnes can now step up and bowl 3 strikes and make Schmidt bowl to win it. This match is not over yet. An open frame, a low pin count. What a disaster for Mike Schmidt. His lead is reduced to 7. If Chris Barnes puts up 2 strikes here, Schmidt is going to have to get up and do some work to claim his place in the semi-final. What a turnaround.
Can you believe this? All the way to the wire. I don't think Mike can, and Chris is thinking to himself, hello, I can just step in there. Going to draw on his all his professional reserves.
What happened there to Mike? Is that just, as they say in the business, choking? It was in his hands, and he let it through.
It probably wasn't far away from that. He was certainly inside his mark. Missed his line. Had rotation on the ball, but it just didn't make the pocket.
So Chris needs a couple of strikes. Every pin vital now. There's one. You can be certain there's another one coming, and then he'll just have to sit back and see if it's enough.
Strikes out for 238 if he can. He definitely needs another 2 strikes. If he spares here, he's 228, and Chris will, Mike won't even have to make a spare. That's how tight it is. Must strike 2 more times.
And he's re-racking again. And the tension in the Metrodome here at Barnsley is hanging heavy in the air. Schmidt trying to stay cool. Barnes waiting patiently. Those pins re-racking. Is he going to be happy with that?
Nick, this could come in a single-digit win. This is so close, it's almost too close to call, isn't it? Unbelievable, the tension here.
Well, as you say, this has got to be a strike to make Mike Schmidt step up and do something. He's been handed a lifeline by his opponent with that unbelievable 9th frame. Can he keep the pressure on? It's good, it's good.
That could be the winner. He needs one more, but he actually needed that one to be able to get the second one. This is unbelievable bowling from Chris Barnes. And can you imagine what it would have been if that 9th frame had gone? That ringing 10-pin. It would have been all over by now. What a fantastic shot. Carries all 10. Look at that. Unbelievable body language.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that strike forces Mike Schmidt to double.
My calculator's melted. It's either a double or a spare and strike. It's got to make 20 pins in his 10th frame. Strike for 238.
And he's done just that.
Unbelievable bowling. I did a score of 433. 443. Yeah, as I say, my calculator's melted.
Well, it's been that kind of match. 443. Is it enough? I think Mike Schmidt has got a double. He certainly needs the first one.
And it's 2 strikes and 4 pins.
Yeah, a strike spare isn't enough. If Mike Schmidt walks away from this on the wrong end of the scoreline, he will look at that 9th frame and curse himself, but he can still regroup.
That 6 low count and the 1 in the 9th frame, as you say, Nick, was the one. This has to be a strike.
Come on, first one.
Under 10 doesn't want to know.
Game, set, and match is gone. Chris Barnes is your winner. Another bad shot, and what a great show this man's put up against the professional from Texas.
Well, what a choker for Mike Schmidt. Just when he thought he had the match in his hands, after that 10-pin from Chris Barnes, he leaves himself a big 4 and a low pin count as well, and he finishes with 238. It's a tie in the second leg, would you believe? But those 5 pins that Chris Barnes carried over from game 1 have proved the difference. The match of the tournament so far, this North American affair. Michael Schmidt had it, let it slip away. Chris Barnes stepped up with 3 strikes to finish the job and to hang on by his fingernails by 5 pins to book himself a place in the semi-finals.
So the very impressive Chris Barnes, the PBA pro, the man who came here as the hot favourite, is through to the final. There he will face Paul Moore. The Englishman, runner-up last year, overcame the defending champion and now has the chance to go one better and claim the World 10-Pin Masters title.